Happy Halloween! I bet you thought the last video was the Halloween video. I bet you thought, Curtis already made a horror movie video this month, so that must be the Halloween video. And if you thought that,
and you'd be wrong.
I don't know why you'd think that. Silly YouTube user and possible future subscriber, unless you're already subscribed, which means that you're amazing. Texas Chainsaw Massacre has nothing to do with Halloween. Stupid! Instead, I want to talk about Goosebumps. Yay! My childhood! Just about anyone who grew up in the 90s through 2010s has interacted with Goosebumps in some way. I myself read the books as a wee lad and watched the 90s show and saw that one movie with Jablinski Games. Hello, Papa. And with this childhood connection to this franchise, I stumbled upon the trailer for this new series on YouTube. I laughed so hard that I knew I had to watch it. So here we are. Hi, editing Curtis here. I just wanted to say two things that I forgot to mention. One, thank you to this channel for awesome scene packs. They were very helpful in making this video. And also that I wrote these as I was watching them. So these are my thoughts directly after watching the episodes. So if that clears up any confusion, enjoy. Maybe hot take. I kind of love this. No, it's not good television. The dialogue's really bad, and the show itself is goofy. But to be honest, I'm having way too much fun with it to care. I'm just going to go right out and say it. Turning Goosebumps into a Stranger Things / Scooby-Doo kind of show, kind of genius. I like the characters, with one very clear standout character that it's apparently kind of controversial to like, I guess. I really like that across the board there's some pretty good representation. There's lots of different peoples here. Justin Long is in the show, and he's still awesome. I'm kind of excited to see where this goes, since presumably he's going to be the bad guy for a bit, maybe, I guess, kind of. The spooky stuff is not scary. It's always accentuated with the funniest sound effects, and honestly, I'm okay with that. Goosebumps is a goofy franchise, and the corny, silly nature of this show kind of fits that. No, I didn't want a serious Goosebumps show. I wanted fun, because that's what the books are. The books are fun. The books aren't scary. We're not here to be scared. We're here to have fun. And I had lots of fun. I love how hideous this mascot is. I loved the goofy burning zombies. I loved this subtle reference. I loved Isaiah's pure panic over the camera. I loved Mr. Brett. I loved how off the walls all of Isaiah's pep talks are. I loved how goofy the entire scene with Allison in the woods is. I love how James just cares about his car. I love the kid falling flat on his face at the beginning. I love the mad panic when they shut down the party. And to cap off the episode, a new version of Goosebumps by Travis Scott that actually kind of slapped, played over the credits. Except in a different key, which made me slightly sad, because the original was in the key of G, G for Goosebumps. It was goofy horror schlock, and honestly, I couldn't be happier. And we have many more episodes to go. Bonus fact. I learned a little thing after watching this episode that made the entire world make sense. The director for this series, or I guess the creator, whatever, is Rob Letterman. If you didn't know, he's the guy who made that Goosebumps movie with Jablinski Games. And he's also the man behind 2004 Oscar-nominated cinematic masterpiece, Shark Tale. And that's how you know we're about to watch some art. Gonna be honest, episode 2 was less epic. There was not enough James. Come on guys, give the people what they want. They literally start the episode by introducing just this random girl that was vaguely in the last episode, but for all intents and purposes is a brand new character. And she's kind of terrible, kind of not. They also have way too many adults, which is kind of boring. And they really are not subtle at all with the music choices. I mean, they aren't in the first episode, but they're really not here. However, there are things I liked. I like this idea of going back to the night of the party to see how the new storyline started. It's structured like a connected anthology, and it definitely makes the show less predictable and more entertaining. There was some more funny, campy horror stuff that I enjoyed. The new girl uses iMovie, which is a reference that hits very close to home. Also, Anatomy of a Murder is on her wall, and I approve of her taste in movies. The Curtis seal of approval. I like the ending twist. What a bizarre one. And I like the weird interactions between Nora and Mr. Bratt. I love Mr. Bratt, okay? He's wonderful. Not as good, but the next episode is about James, so it's gotta be a masterpiece. Okay, but I actually loved that. That was wonderful. Let's talk about
James.
There's apparently a slight discourse over this character on a certain forum website, and I just want to say that I don't agree with y'all. I understand where you guys are coming from. There's far too much bad and stereotypic LGBTQ rap. And sure, James is a stereotype. I will acknowledge that. But personally, I choose a positive light stereotype over Buffalo Bill every single day of the week. I connect to this character, and that's why I like him. I'm also kind of a sucker for gay romance. And ladies and gentlemen, he got him. Sure, the 6 gay people in the whole town line was kind of cringe, but I see what they were going for. Like, they could have been more subtle, but I see what they're doing. Also, don't forget that not that long ago, if James were in a Disney project, he would have been a background character that got 2 lines and could have easily been removed from the entire thing. Look, we've come a ways. Okay, we've come a ways. On another note, the fake Jameses. Jamesies? What's the plural of James? Is it just James? Welcome to WDT Productions, where we ask the questions no one had the right circumstances to ask. Anyways, the imposters. Being basically pure evil was a delight. I love how they messed with everyone, and I'm kind of excited to see where all the damage they did goes. I'm not ever interested in the tea, but I cannot wait for it to be spilled. Absolutely shatter it on the floor. I loved how they move like a hive mind. I love how aggressively on brand it is for Goosebumps, that the kids know how easy it is to destroy the Jameses, and yet they still don't for some reason. And the best subtle joke in the show so far is that the Jameses smell like
watermelon Jolly Ranchers.
Like product placementator and all of that, but this joke has layers, just like an onion. If you know, you know. Another thing this episode has in its favor is that I am also a sucker for imposter stories. This gave insane Body Snatchers vibes, and that only helped this episode. There's something like kind of just off-putting about someone in your life being replaced that's just kind of hard to describe. Just watch Body Snatchers. I love Body Snatchers. Go watch Body Snatchers. And on top of that, there were a lot of things that were random that I liked. I liked that Mr. Brat danced to 500 miles at one point. I love every scene with Justin Long. To be honest, this show is at its best when the characters have bizarre conversations. I also thought it was muy cómico. Why did I say that Japanese? I also thought it was muy cómico. Cómico. Muy cómico. Why can't I say Spanish? I also thought it was muy cómico when Isaiah and James fought and made up within the same 5 minutes. I loved the dad's reaction to Isaiah and Margot sitting on the couch together. I love that James flirts using soccer in Spanish.
Oh, hey! Looks like this was a trap. Sorry, besties.
I was dead on the floor because of that line. I loved that final scene. Like, come on, you know what was supposed to be in the box. You know it was absolutely. That was a really good episode. And this is definitely the most hard-hitting episode of the show so far. Dropped some pretty heavy stuff on us. And I think they did a lot of it with respect and warmth. Lucas is a great character, and I loved seeing him shine in this episode. It was also less silly fun and a lot more serious in tone, which is a nice little change of pace from the rest of the series so far. There are some scenes that were really hard to sit through, with how uncomfortably guilty the characters are. The horror definitely tied the most into the character and his problems in this episode more than the rest. Now, with that said, I could have used a sprinkling more camp. Like, I enjoy the emotion, especially when it's, like, it feels very genuine in the show. But I came for silly spooks, and I want some silly spooks. But I'm very glad this episode was so grounded, since it kind of let you care for these characters as people and not just cartoons. The tea definitely spilled, and I'm only getting more excited. I'm pretty glad Allison is pretty much out of the show now. And goddamn, they're building up that darn dummy so much. I really liked Lucas's taste in music. I freaked out at one point over seeing my favorite book series in the background of the scene. Here it is. You know what that is? That's a series of unfortunate events. I will bet money that is a series of unfortunate events. Penultimate peril. There's the end. There's slippery slope. There's wait, no, that's not slippery slope. That's the one after that. Slippery slope. That one's carnival. That one's the hospital. That one's the village. That one's the elevator. I don't know where like all the other books are, but there's definitely them. I promise you. I've read all of these. I can't get over the fact that everyone in this town uses iMovie. Lucas slamming his hand in the locker was also kind of funny, to be honest. Mr. Brat scenes are still peak. And there is a full-on Princess Mononoke style worm monster, which was so silly, but I enjoyed it. Yeah, that was pretty good. This was probably my second favorite episode so far. I like seeing the past episodes in mystery shows. They're usually very interesting for people like me who are watching it for the mystery. And I like how they present this because it made sense in the context of this show, that it all kind of connects back to Biddle. I like that. There was some genuinely good drama in this episode, which was pretty neat. There was a dinner scene that really reminded me of I'm Thinking of Ending Things in Hereditary and how it was shot. I'm starting to like the adult stuff more since they're getting directly involved in the mystery. I don't think I have to say this again, but Mr. Brat scenes are still gold. The final scene where he invites the kids inside, I just didn't know what to think about how he was performing that. Like, he's simultaneously, like, really sincere and, like, the teacher sitting in the chair backwards about it, but also, like, kind of creepy. Like a teacher sitting in the chair backwards. I liked it. The mystery took some fun little turns in this episode. The parents being to blame? Fun twist. And I'm very anxious to see where it's going. And holy smokes, they are really building to the inevitable name drop in the 6th episode. Like, there will be a full-on name drop. It will be Marvel style. I am feeling the hype. Stuff is going to get crazy. This episode gave me my 2 new favorite James quotes. It's getting cishet up in here, and
Oh my god, we're murder nepo babies.
funny. That was funny. That was funny. It's like the funniest thing I've heard on the entirety of Disney Plus, which is sad because they have multiple actual comedy shows. I'm very glad they finally got rid of Allison, and that Isaiah and Margot aren't going to be a thing. Hopefully, I hope they don't. Please. Sure, there's going to be some love triangle BS, but I will deal with it. Overall, a fun episode. It's now time for a mid-season recap. I kind of love this show. It's not good television, as I said at the beginning, but it's really fun. It's just fun. I like the characters. Sure, everyone is like a stereotype. There's the popular jock, the gay dude, the nerdy girl, the loner, and the daredevil. Like, complain all you want about James being not good LGBT rep, but none of them are that good of representation. This is meant to be fun, campy, crowd pleaser show. And shows like this never have great representation, but it's positive representation. Sure, I would love to have great portrayals of marginalized groups, but not every show can have LGBT characters as good as The Owl House, just like not all race representation can be a Jordan Peele movie. At the end of the day, it presents people of all groups in a positive light, whether that light is accurate or not. Unless you're an emo 90s kid. This show is very anti-emo 90s kid. I also really like how they've handled the mystery. Every reveal has been really fun, but none of them have felt like they came out of nowhere. There's very good setups to every twist, and that's satisfying to me. I like it when the pieces just kind of together. The structure of each episode branching off of the party is very clever. I like it. It gives each character time to be introduced so that we can care about them before stuff gets really crazy. I really don't think I would enjoy Isabella or Isaiah that much if we hadn't had time to really get to know them and their struggles. The comedy, intentional and unintentional, is on point. The show fits into that perfect cross-section of campy and serious that gives it both some good jokes and good drama and ironic comedy gold. Like the sound effects for every jump scare, wonderful. I would not change them. The character interactions are so hectic and it's wonderful. Every once in a while, a background character interacts with the main story and it's great. There's a scene where the librarian asks Margot at one point if she's on drugs. Sometimes it fades out like it's cutting to commercial and then it just doesn't. Overall, I'm really enjoying this for some reason. And by the way, there's a little something I neglected to mention. At the moment of writing this, there are only 7 episodes of 10 released. So, you know what that means.
But who would want 500?